On a cool, misty evening, the harbor appeared quiet, yet filled with an unspoken promise of adventure. I recall how the scene unfolded along the abandoned dock where a rusty boat rested under the subdued glow of a fading sunset. The air was crisp as the subtle sound of waves gently lapping at the shore set an eerie backdrop. I remember Alex, a daring vlogger with an insatiable curiosity for the unknown, carefully preparing his camera. His excitement was palpable, yet his inviting smile masked a hint of caution. Alongside him were his close friends, Mira, Dev, Nina, and Raul, whose expressions revealed both eagerness and apprehension as they gathered near the boat. The group moved with purpose, united by the desire to explore Isla Demente, an island shrouded in legendary mystery and left untouched for decades. Their journey began with boarding a creaking fishing boat helmed by old Cyrus, a reclusive captain known for his terse warnings and gravelly demeanor. His whispered admonitions and the weathered lines on his face suggested he had witnessed unsettling events on these waters, yet his caution was brushed aside in favor of the irresistible lure of adventure. As the boat edged away from the dock, the curious blend of anticipation and trepidation among the group set the tone for what lay ahead. The harbor, lit dimly by the last rays of sunlight, faded into the distance, leaving behind echoes of whispered legends and an unyielding promise of both thrill and danger waiting beyond the horizon. The journey over open waters was as turbulent as it was symbolic, with choppy waves and darkening skies mirroring the inner conflicts of the group. I recall how the boat eventually reached the rugged shoreline of Isla Demente, where the land itself seemed to resist approach. The rocky, overgrown beach was cloaked in a thick, rolling fog that blurred the edges between reality and mystery. The island's silence was profound, so deep that even the call of distant wildlife was conspicuously absent. In the heart of this unsettling scene stood the ruins of an enormous mansion. Its decaying structure with shattered windows and tangled vines told the story of a bygone era marked by secrets and experiments too dire to name. As the friends disembarked and stepped onto uneven ground, every footstep echoed like a challenge thrown at fate. Their hearts, beating in unison with the rhythmic crash of distant waves, felt both the thrill of discovery and the chill of uncertainty. I observed how Mira's uneasy glances and Raul's offhand comparisons to classic horror flicks underscored a palpable tension among the adventurers. Amid scattered remnants of military crates and mysterious glass tubes hinting at clandestine science, an old journal was uncovered. This journal, penned by the enigmatic Dr. Gregor Vallis, hinted at forbidden reanimation experiments conducted in secret. As the wind howled softly through the dilapidated corridors of the mansion, a faint, rhythmic knocking from beneath the floorboards added another layer of suspense, as if the island itself beckoned them to uncover long-buried truths. Deep within the mansion's forsaken corridors, the sense of foreboding reached a fever pitch as the group ventured towards the basement. The cool, damp air mingled with the scent of decay, guiding their steps to a chamber filled with relics of unsettling history. In the dim glow of their flashlights, ancient coffins, scattered human bones, and one colossal stone tomb painted a harrowing picture of forgotten rituals. I watched as Dev, driven by the irresistible pull of curiosity, unsealed the tomb with a trembling hand. In that fateful moment, a surge of inky black mist erupted, filling the room with an oppressive darkness that seemed to whisper of unfinished business and buried sins. The quiet was shattered by a deep, resonant growl that vibrated within the stone walls. From beneath the disturbed earth, figures altered beyond recognition began to stir. The undead emerged, clad in rotting yet strangely coordinated military uniforms that bore the scars of an earlier time. Their rapid, relentless movement transformed the scene into one of chaotic terror. Among these creatures, a singular presence stood out, a towering figure in an officer's coat, later known as the Zombie General. This abomination, once a human military leader, now housed the malevolent consciousness of Dr. Vallis. Its presence radiated an eerie authority as it silently conveyed a grim message, a command to return what was stolen. The realization that the experiments had not only reanimated the dead, but had imbued them with a sinister purpose, sent shivers through the group. In that chilling moment, the mansion transformed from a relic of abandoned scientific inquiry into a battleground where supernatural forces clashed with human vulnerability. As chaos erupted within the dark recesses of the mansion, the group was forced into a desperate bid for survival. I watched with a heavy heart as they retreated into an underground lab, a space echoing with the remnants of long-forgotten research and hidden atrocities. The lab, filled with flickering monitors, scattered video logs, and abandoned scientific equipment, served as a grim archive of the island's secret past. The survivors, Mira, Nina, and Alex, banded together amid the oppressive walls, using whatever clues they could glean from cryptic records and haunting photographs to piece together the true extent of Dr. Vallis's experiments. Every discovery in that claustrophobic space underscored the magnitude of their predicament. They were caught between the driven purpose of a vengeful reanimated force and the stark reality of their dwindling hopes. Amid the struggle, the cost of survival became tragically apparent when Raul was overwhelmed during a brutal encounter with the relentless undead. His sacrifice sent shockwaves of grief and resolve through the group, embedding in them the urgent need to fight back. With each passing moment, the boundaries between science and the supernatural blurred. The experiments had long ceased to be mere scientific errors, morphing instead into a dark force that defied natural order. In that subterranean crucible, every heartbeat was a testament to courage, and every shadow a reminder of the imminent threat. The survivors, united by shared desperation and bravado, clung to the belief that understanding the island's cursed legacy was the key to halting the monstrous uprising. Their struggle was as much against the tangible horde on their heels as it was against the unimaginable terror that lay hidden in the island's history. In the midst of the desperate struggle, the island demanded a heavy price from its unwilling guests. I observed how, in a dramatic twist of fate, Dev chose to sacrifice himself in a bid to turn the tide of the relentless pursuit. With tremendous resolve, he led the horde of undead into a generator room that pulsed with the raw energy of a forgotten time. In a brilliant flash of courageous defiance, the room erupted in a massive explosion, engulfing Dev and a portion of the horde in a ferocious blaze that lit up the dark mansion. Amid this chaos, the remaining survivors, Mira, Nina, and Alex, were forced to come to terms with the loss of their dear friend, a moment steeped in sorrow, yet fueling a desperate hope. I recalled how Nina's fate grew even grimmer when a minor but inevitable bite by one of the infected marked her for a future she could neither change nor accept. With a bittersweet smile that belied the deep pain in her heart, she urged the others to continue their fight, choosing dignity and sacrifice over despair. Her quiet courage left an indelible mark on the group as they resolved to destroy the source of the island's malevolence. In a final heart-wrenching act, Mira and Alex gathered a stockpile of volatile chemicals and fuel, preparing to turn the decayed mansion into a conflagration that would consume the horrific legacy contained within. As the building roared to life in flames, the survivors built a makeshift raft and escaped into the uncertain embrace of the dark sea, their hearts heavy with grief, yet buoyed by the fragile thread of hope that the destruction might sever the island's hold on their lives. The journey away from the burning remnants of Isla Demente was marked by an uneasy transition from isolation to the familiar yet untrusting bustle of modern civilization. I observed as Mira and Alex, still reeling from the events they had endured, boarded a small vessel bound for a large city. Upon arrival, the pair were immediately swept into a labyrinthine hospital setting where sterile white corridors and the constant hum of medical equipment were a stark contrast to the wild chaos of the island. Despite the doctors' and authorities' urgent probing, the memories of their ordeal remained shrouded by confusion and fragmented visions. I noted how the duo was subjected to harsh isolation protocols in an effort to contain any lingering threat, their presence a somber reminder of a horror that stood in defiance of logic. Simultaneously, in a high-security military base, officials anxiously monitored surveillance footage that replayed the island's final moments in haunting detail. On a screen, a figure, half machine, half human, emerged from the flicker of images, a reborn Dr. Vallis declaring that the future was not to be ruled by human frailty. This stark and menacing image underscored a universality of dread that stretched far beyond the island's shores, hinting that the nightmare was not contained but had begun to infiltrate the larger world. The shift from island terror to urban suspicion was both jarring and inevitable, leaving Mira and Alex to navigate the double-edged sword of public fear and official scrutiny as they struggled to piece together the remnants of their shattered reality. In the quiet hours following their return, I watched with mounting concern as unsettling signs of the island's curse began to spread into everyday life. Cargo ships arrived at bustling ports, their containers marked ominously with biohazard symbols that whispered of impending peril. The first subtle indicators of disaster manifested in an unassuming crate that, upon damage, leaked a faint green mist into the cool evening air, a mist that carried a forewarning of the contagion's virulence. Meanwhile, Mira delved into the cryptic notes of Dr. Vallis's journal, piecing together the dire implications of his experiments. The discovery that copies of the serum might exist sparked an alarming realization. This was not simply a localized curse, but a threat with the potential to engulf cities and turn communities into labyrinths of fear. As the evidence accumulated, it became increasingly clear that the dark legacy of Isla Demente was poised to extend its tendrils far beyond the rocky shores, poised to shroud civilization itself in an ever-deepening shadow of dread.